Good evening, world. I'm your host, and tonight we're diving into a story that proves one thing. If you are a billionaire with a private island, you don't just buy yachts. You buy the moral compasses of every major leader in the Western Hemisphere. And of course, we're talking about the Epstein files. 3 million documents have just been dropped by the US Justice Department. 3 million. That's a lot of I don't recalls, and he seemed like a lovely guy who just happened to have a lot of massage therapists. It's basically the Panama Papers, but instead of tax evasion, it's a manual on how to flush your soul down a gold-plated toilet. Across Europe, the political class is currently behaving like a group of teenagers who just heard their parents' car pull into the driveway while the house is on fire. And let's start in London, where the fog isn't just weather, it's the official policy of 10 Downing Street. Lord Peter Mandelson, the man they call the Prince of Darkness, has finally lived up to his name and vanished into the shadows. He resigned from the House of Lords last week, and do you know how hard it is to quit the House of Lords? You usually have to be dead for at least 3 decades before they notice you are gone. But Mandelson's exit wasn't a peaceful retirement. He's under criminal investigation. The files suggest that while he was a government minister, he was basically running a high-end concierge service for Jeffrey Epstein and JP Morgan. The documents show him advising them on how to lobby the UK Treasury. And that's not diplomacy, Peter. That's insider trading for dummies, the Epstein edition. He was allegedly leaking market-sensitive info during the 2008 financial crisis, and while the rest of the country was losing their homes, Mandelson was reportedly texting Epstein saying, "The €500 billion bailout is a go, high five." I'm paraphrasing, but the level of ooh is accurate. And then there's Sir Keir Starmer, Mr. Integrity, the man who promised to clean up Westminster. He's now facing calls to resign because he admitted, and get this, he knew about Mandelson's ties to Epstein before appointing him as the UK's ambassador to the US last year. Keir, buddy, you're a former chief prosecutor. If a guy comes to a job interview for ambassador and his CV says references, a convicted sex offender and a guy who lived on a yacht called the Lolita Express, usually you say, "Don't call us, we'll call the police." And instead, Keir said, "Welcome aboard, Pete. Here's the keys to the embassy and a direct line to the president." But if you think the British are messy, let's head to Norway. Norway. The land of the midnight sun, electric cars, and apparently a crown princess with a very questionable contact list. Crown Princess Mette-Marit issued a public apology this week. It turns out her friendship with Epstein was a bit more than just a casual hello at a charity gala. The files reveal over 1,000 mentions of her name. In one email, she actually asked Epstein for parenting advice. She asked if it was inappropriate to suggest a wallpaper of 2 naked women on a surfboard for her 15-year-old son's computer. And Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein, responded like the voice of reason saying, "Let the boy decide." And when Jeffrey Epstein is the one telling you to take it down a notch regarding boundaries with minors, you have officially failed at being a royal. You failed at being a parent. You've basically failed at being a human being with a working frontal lobe. And the Norwegian public is now asking, do we really need a monarchy if their primary job is seeking interior design tips from international fugitives? It's a valid question. Usually, royals are supposed to be symbols of the nation. And right now, Mette-Marit is a symbol for why you should check the Wikipedia controversy section before accepting a weekend in Palm Beach. And finally, we go to the Swiss Alps, where the air is thin and the ethics are even thinner. You remember the World Economics Forum? The WEF? The WEF has announced a review of its CEO, Børge Brende, because surprise, surprise, his name is all over the Epstein records. He reportedly attended several business dinners with Epstein after Epstein was a registered sex offender. And Brenda's excuse? I didn't know his background. Berger, you are the CEO of the World Economic Forum. Your entire job is knowing everything about everyone who has more than $10 in their pocket. You claim to be committed to improving the state of the world, but you couldn't be bothered to spend 5 seconds on Google to see why your dinner date was wearing an ankle monitor? It's the Davos way. We want to save the planet from plastic straws, but we're totally fine with sharing a steak with a man who trafficked children, as long as the wine is a 1945 Lafite. So what have we learned from the 2026 Epstein data dump? We've learned that the elite are really just a group of people who are very good at pretending they don't know who they're talking to. Mandelson didn't know it was illegal to sell the treasury. Starmer didn't know that hiring an Epstein buddy would look bad. Mette Marit didn't know that staying in a sex trafficker's mansion was embarrassing. And Brenda didn't know that Jeffrey Epstein wasn't just a very successful philanthropist with a hobby for island owning. It's a global epidemic of sudden onset ignorance. And these people are so smart, they can predict the future of the global economy. But so dumb, they can't recognize a monster when he's paying for their osteopathy courses. And the special relationship between the US and the UK has turned into a joint criminal venture. The Norwegian crown is looking more like a participation trophy, and the WEF is looking like a high-end witness protection program. The earthquake is here, folks, and the only thing falling faster than the reputation of these leaders is the price of a used lobbyist on the London market. I'm your host for Outside View Scandal. Stay safe, stay skeptical, and for the love of God, if someone offers you a naked woman on a surfboard wallpaper, just say no. Good night.